Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com. Your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
Nothing says Akron weak like Josh Ward. Well, he says more than that. He's Josh Ward of the Sports Animal. I'm Dave Hooker. We're going to break down what you'd like to see out of the Akron game other than a lopsided score, and that's what you're going to see. He is Josh Ward. Listen to him on the Sports Animal at Josh_Ward. Please hit that like and subscribe button so we can be a part of your day each and every morning, afternoon, or night, whenever you might listen. So go ahead and pound that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. So, Josh Ward, it is Akron. As far as concerns heading into the game, I want to get into that. But first, I'll tell you, azulbeer.com is where you need to go. You can see it on your screen, xulbeer.com if you're listening to an audio version. The official craft beer of Off the Hook Sports. And Josh is pretty tasty and pretty good.
Really good. Yep. Great atmosphere there, and I have enjoyed some at the house and many different options. So if you like beer, you like trying different kinds, they have many different options for you.
Sweet, sweet. All right, let's get to concerns. And a lot of Tennessee fans I know are happy that Tennessee got the win at Pitt. I'm a firm believer that a win on the road against a ranked team should not be just sloughed off, that is significant. But I saw some things that were disconcerting, and I want to start off and ask you, what is the most concerning thing for Tennessee fans? What should it be? I got a couple that I'll throw out there: the defensive backs, Hendon Hooker's accuracy, and let me say the offensive line in general. And then we can kind of play off that because I think those are three things that weren't perfect against Pitt, to say the least.
Right. On the defensive side, I'd probably start there. I like Kamal Hadden and what he's been able to do early this season. Remember, he was coming back from that injury that kept him out of camp for a few weeks in August, and he was a player that was expected to take a big step forward to help replace Alontae Taylor. And I still think that's likely to happen. I think there's a good chance that over the course of the season, Kamal is Tennessee's top corner. But what else do they have at that position? That's still a question. And I think other teams are going to try to attack on the outside against Tennessee and find different ways. There'll be ways across the middle, I think, to go at Tennessee in the passing game. What helped against Pittsburgh and what Tennessee will try to help with that issue, as long as it is there, is pass rush and creating pressure. But you can't count on knocking out the quarterback. Keaton Slovis was able to find success while he was out there healthy. Other quarterbacks who have as much talent or more in some of these games that Tennessee will play will have that same kind of opportunity. So the defense in the Pittsburgh game stepped up and helped lead Tennessee to victory after a rough start to the game against Pittsburgh's offense. But in the secondary and Tennessee's pass defense, if they're not able to get pressure at times, I think right now is very vulnerable.
It is. You mentioned Kamal. I have a real question if Tennessee has a true number one cornerback. If they have a guy that's a lockdown player, I'm not sure if he's that or they even have one right now, like they had with Taylor.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say Kamal is Alontae Taylor. Not at all. But I do like his confidence. I like his playmaking ability, which needed to be replaced. Does Tennessee win the Kentucky game without Alontae Taylor picking off a pass and taking it back for a touchdown? I don't know that. It's Ball State. I recognize the opponent, but Tamarion McDonald making a play early in that game. Kamal Hadden did. He had a chance this past week. That's why I come back to Hadden, who wasn't a starter in game number one, but I think probably would have been if he hadn't dealt with the injury to keep him out for a few weeks during the month of August. So I like him a lot, but Warren Burrell is a veteran who has played a lot that probably needs to play better. Christian Charles is a guy that they like his potential, but I think needs to play a lot this Saturday. I think this is an important game for Charles to just get some more reps there if he's going to be a corner, to get some time there, because this is your really last chance for a while. You have UT Martin later, but at that point, you will have played a lot of SEC games to figure out where your season is going to go. And then to somebody else get an opportunity. Getting D. Williams back eventually is something that could help, but we don't know there. That's an unknown with a JUCO transfer who hasn't played yet at Tennessee. So there are more questions than answers right now at corner.
Agreed. So would that be your biggest concern right now on the entire football team, secondary?
That would be my biggest concern ahead of running the football consistently at the running back position. That goes into the offensive line subject. Protecting Hendon Hooker factors into this as well. So it'd probably start more up front because that's the conversation. That's where through the offseason we pointed to 4 offensive line starters coming back. Not Cade Mays, who was an NFL draft pick, but 4 starters coming back and an interior where there's a lot of confidence. And I have confidence in their ability to get things figured out. I think they have a good offensive line coach in Glenn Ellerby. I think, again, on the interior, from Carvin to Cooper Mays to Spraggins, there is a ton of potential and ability, and more time they have together, communication improves. So I still think things can be worked out there, but they need to run the ball effectively in Josh Heupel's offense. And so far, we haven't seen everything I think that was either expected or hoped that we would see from Jabari Small in the month of August, where started to hear good things about what he was doing in practice. Haven't seen it yet, totally. And of course, one Power 5 game. I don't even take much out of the Ball State game, but the average overall was not where they wanted it to be as a team. You want to protect Hendon Hooker. Every time he takes a hit in the middle of the field, fans probably get a little bit nervous until they officially see him get back up, and of course, pressure coming in. So the offensive line is just so important for what any offense is going to be able to do. That's where it starts, but running the football within this offense would be the subplot to that.
Well, when we talk about the offensive line, it leads me to a column that I wrote on Hendon Hooker and offthehooksports.com with an evaluation by Chris Landry of Landry Football. And Josh, here's what Chris Landry said, that basically it's about footwork. There are naturals like Aaron Rodgers that can throw with their feet basically over their head if they wanted to, and it's going to get there. Hendon Hooker is, like most, not one of those guys, but the footwork relies on the protection. So it's kind of the yin and the yang there, or the chicken and the egg, whatever phraseology you want to use.
Yeah, what's funny when we talk about a quarterback missing or accuracy issues that might pop up, it's like, what's going on? And a lot of times my answer, this is the simplified version, Chris Landry can dive a lot deeper, but my answer is it's a college quarterback. Like, what are our expectations? They should not be Aaron Rodgers. You should not be expecting Drew Brees level precision. Go to the other side. Nick Patty is a veteran quarterback who's been in the system, has played some at Pittsburgh. Final throw of the game, if not for the pressure that Tennessee brought defensively, they might have scored a touchdown there. He had time to get the throw off, but he did not step into it. He looked a little awkward in his delivery of the football because Tennessee's bringing pressure. Aaron Beasley's coming after him late. I think another linebacker was coming as well, but his throw across the middle was not precise because of the pressure. So a lot of times when we talk about defensive pressure, what ends up being talked about is sacks. How much did we talk about how many sacks Tennessee was able to get last week? But and that's great. If you get to the quarterback and take him down, that's going to get a lot of attention. But coaches, I think they were going to talk about affecting the quarterback, affecting their ability to make an accurate throw. It might end up creating a turnover. Maybe the ball's thrown a little off and a defender's able to get to it, or a pass is tipped and a ball's up in the air and you have an opportunity there, but affecting the quarterback, which affects the quarterback's accuracy. So that's another reason that protecting Hendon is going to be important. And, let's see what Tennessee continues to do. Are they going to take shots across the middle, or are they going to stick to the outside? I think it's important for Tennessee staff to figure out where they believe Hendon can be most effective and where he's most comfortable to be able to hit those passes. You have big guys on the outside, and I think Tennessee will continue to attack there as long as it works.
Josh, this goes way back, even I think before you and I started working together, but there was all kinds of conversation about why didn't Tennessee throw the football over the middle more with T. Martin? And it was an accuracy issue because a lot balls can get tipped, balls can get intercepted when you throw over the middle. So I look at it schematically, and you're 100% right with the slants, the digs, whatever they want to run. But the bottom line is, if you think there's a decent chance it could get tipped or turned over because you throw over the middle, then you're scared to do that, and that really limits your offense. That, to me, is the give and take.
Well, yeah, opposing defensive coaches are going to pull up film and say, okay, well, if this is where they're going to go, let's see if we can take this away and see if they're able to go elsewhere. Sometimes part of it is just challenging the other team to see, okay, can you do this? If not, then we're going to beat you. Remember South Carolina, the 16 game, Dave, halftime. Do you remember what Will Muschamp said? That's a game where Tennessee ended up losing. The offense was struggling. And Muschamp, this is paraphrased a little bit, but he said, we're going to make Josh Dobbs stand in there and play quarterback. So they knew that he had the ability to move and would create big time problems. So they did their best to take that away and wanted to see if the passing game would be able to hurt South Carolina's defense. Tennessee's running game was kind of taken away because they didn't have Alvin Kamara, and you had the Jalen Hurd situation there in the middle of the game. And South Carolina's defense that day was able to take advantage of Tennessee's vulnerabilities out there on the field, where they weren't able to, really take advantage of their weaknesses on that particular day. And next week against Florida, later on in the season against LSU or other SEC opponents, Mark Stoops, didn't he do a good job against Florida's offense this past week and say, okay, we're going to take this away. We've got a spy on your quarterback. Let's see if you can do something else. And Florida wasn't able to. There will be teams that challenge Tennessee to do that. Now, when you have Cedric Tillman to throw the ball up to down the field, so there will be some plays where it's not going to matter what the defense does. And that's an advantage of having real talent like Tillman and Brew McCoy now. And, Jalen Hyde, I think, is a real positive to begin the season. But when we talk about the middle of the field and different opportunities, Jacob Warren is a big guy out there too. He's a guy that I think can continue to help this offense in a bigger way as the season goes along. So there is no reason to panic. I mean, we're having this conversation about some of the issues Hendon had in a week where he's named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. So it is a much better situation. I still have a lot of faith and a lot of trust in Hendon putting up big numbers and doing a lot of good things in this offense this year.
We want Jacob to do good things on Off the Hook Sports since he's a part of Off the Hook Sports. So we'll just go ahead. There might have been a
Farragut grad on Off the Hook Sports. You know that has my approval.
We got a bunch of those guys. So, but Josh, this sounds like I'm taking a shot at Hendon Hooker, and I don't want it to at all. But some people are going to take it this way. He is a great athlete playing quarterback, like Heath Schuler. I don't know that he's a great natural quarterback. That's not a knock. Most people aren't, but I just think he has to be mindful of his footwork, and the coaches have to be sure that he has that footwork in place. And there's just going to be limitations. And if he doesn't have a good set, it's not going to happen with his arm.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case. And that is the case for a lot of quarterbacks in college, especially. So I think that's right. I don't find that to be a huge concern as long as the other parts of the offense take care of what they need to do. Now, if they don't, then you can run into some problems. But this is what we talk about the offensive line. I mean, it's about protecting the quarterback, but it's about helping the quarterback. It's about setting up the running game. That's why the conversation most often is going to begin there so that the other parts can do their job. But there is a good amount of talent in this offense. Jalen Wright running the football has been a positive. Overall, I think taking care of the football is a question. This week against Akron, does Dylan Sampson get more involved? Because that's a playmaker who can help Hendon Hooker out. You don't want it to all be on Hendon and trying to lead in the passing game and then make big plays consistently in the run game. I just think he's capable of it probably, but that's an unfair ask. And I think that limits the potential what the offense can be. But Jabari Small is, I think, a talented player. Jalen Wright, again, just repeat what I said. And Dylan Sampson has the home run ability that can change what teams do. But how much trust do the coaches have in Dylan? Get him some run out there and see what you think about the way he runs the football. I don't know if they'll be tested again, like the Ball State game and having to pass protect. That's the big question, right, with the freshman running back. Well, Ball State didn't bring any kind of pressure. I don't know if Akron will be able to as well. So that's one where at some point might just have to face the fire in the SEC. But think about the conversation of depth at running back is unchanged. Fortunately for Tennessee, they haven't had real injury issues there with the top two guys. But at some point, one of those guys probably gets banged up either for a short period of time or long term. That's just the way the running back position works. So having Dylan Sampson ready is really important. But to go back to Hendon Hooker, I'm sure that the coaches are seeing this on film and talking about what they need to do to set him up in the best position. Sometimes he came out, maybe the adrenaline's a little hot there to start the game out against Pittsburgh as well. But he's getting more time in the offense. I think he better understands now compared to a year ago how to communicate with the coaches. And in the middle of the game, if something's not working, that should help.
Grab a brew. We're going to talk about Brew McCoy, but grab that brew at Zool Beer Company. It's right downtown Knoxville. You'll love it. So when we're all talking about the Brew McCoy situation, I was like, is this guy really worth this much conversation? And I dug into it and asked around. And it's one person that told me he might just be Tennessee's most talented player on the roster, 1 to 85, regardless of position. I thought, oh, wow. Okay, let's talk about him. I've since seen flashes to believe that's true. Flashes, not consistency. And we're not going to see that immediately, maybe because of the transfer and the NCAA issues. But he's shown me a couple of things. I'm like, whoa, that's a different cat.
Yeah, natural athletic ability. He is a physical player there. That's why you've seen Tennessee get the football to him. I thought one of the most important plays of the game against Pittsburgh was a third down. He fights for that extra yardage to pick up the first down on a drive that leads to a long field goal made by Chase McGrath. If they don't get those 3 points, does Tennessee win the game? Fans don't want to find out. So that kind of play, he had hit the shot down the field. Do they get Brew more involved? Is he able to do more within the offense quickly? Yeah, that is a question, but natural athletic ability for a guy that hasn't played that much football in college. I mean, the old knocking the rust off, he's the player you're talking about when that's brought up because he hasn't played much. But yeah, if you just went from the top to the bottom of the roster, he has to rank very high. I mean, we hadn't seen him long, and on our radio show, I put him pretty high on our list of offensive players just because of the potential that I knew was there. He also had the offseason hip procedure, so he's been coming back, getting ready physically. So as long as he's able to avoid anything serious, you would imagine that over the next several weeks, he probably feels better out there too. So adding Brew to this offense was, I think, a must because there's probably a lack of confidence in the guys behind the top three. Not to say that as the season goes along, we don't see more from Walker Merrill. I mean, the injury question applies to receiver almost as much as running back. So those guys might get an opportunity, but the coaches told us in the offseason when they went after Isaiah Nair and he committed, but then ended up at Texas and then went after Brew McCoy to get him to Tennessee that they needed help to help for Tillman. Hyatt, I think, is doing what they hoped that he would, but elsewhere, it's a question mark. Brew McCoy is no longer a question. He can help Tennessee.
Agreed. And this is the way I would describe the difference in what I see just from my eyeballs. I think that Cedric Tillman is a first or second round pick. I think the Brew McCoy has the ability to be like a top 10 pick. And I know that's strong for a receiver, but I think he's that gifted.
I like him a lot. I think top 10 pick. I think Jamar Chase, obviously, with what he's doing right now. I think you have to be a little more electric in what you're able to do in different spots in the field. I need to see that. But I like Brew a lot. I think he's an NFL player, no doubt about that.
Well, yeah, and in the NFL too, they're letting dudes at receiver go left and right, and because of the way the game has evolved, they're not as important. So maybe he does slide down a little bit. So how do you see this game playing out? What are some? Of course, it's going to be a blowout, but at the end of the day, what are some check marks that? Is there anything you would like to see to that would make fans optimistic after this game?
Probably not. At least compared to like Florida's next, right? That's what this
Right.
conversation is about, getting ready for the Gators. Probably not. If Dylan Sampson, who I brought up, hits a big home run play, let's say Dylan Sampson hits a 75-yard touchdown. That should be exciting. But I don't know that it's going to tell me what the coaches are going to do in the next week or what kind of opportunity he's going to have. If Joshua Josephs gets a sack this week, I don't know that means he's factoring in more to the rotation where I think you have to feel good about the veterans up front, like Roman Harrison coming on. He didn't get much talk because he's an older guy, right? So you kind of just move on and talk about the new guys that come in. Harrison's been really important. Tyler Barron with that sack that he was able to get at the end of the first half, lined up on the inside with Roman Harrison on the outside, makes a difference. So Akron is just so bad, Dave. They're so bad that I can't take anything from it to get ready for the conversation for Florida. But I'll just tell you now, I like Tennessee a lot next week with the chance to beat Florida at home, and we'll be favored with that sold-out crowd that's going to be there. So it's about staying healthy, but this kind of game is like, if you still see the same concerns, like if we're having the concerns about the offensive line based on what happens against Akron, that's no good. So staying healthy and getting guys playing time, that's what I think matters. This is like a scrimmage, a chance to get out there and get some work in like you did in a couple of Saturdays in August to get ready for the season. That's what this upcoming weekend's about.
Zool Beer Company. It is downtown. Go to zoolbeer.com. XUL if you're listening on audio, or you can see it right there on your screen. It's fantastic. He's Josh Ward at Josh_Ward. He's on the Sports Animal from noon to 3, and he is fantastic. Josh, have a fantastic day. And I said fantastic now 3 times.
I had a fantastic time, Dave. Thank you.
Maybe lean in on that word a little too much. It's early in the morning for me and Josh. Anyway, thank you for watching. Check out Zool Beer Company, and Zool Beer is awesome. And hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll get you more Josh and more Jacob and more Farragut Admirals, where it is the home of soccer and boats. This is a production of Off the Hook Sports.